And just like that, we're back. I decided to switch things up and try something new with a bit of vlog style content. I'll admit, it starts off a little slow, but trust me, it picks up. I promise. I'm still trying to figure things out, but I really hope you enjoy it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dominique, but I go by Dom, and in today's video, we're vlogging. I think this is a bookish vlog or a reading vlog. I'm not quite sure. I don't know how to do these things, but I am going to the library and I wanted to take you guys along with me. This is a very odd angle to start a video, but whatever. I'll just see you guys in the next clip when I get to the library. Okay, so I don't know who designed this room, but this was not smart. I guess people aren't really supposed to be in the corner, but we have made it to the library. I've already looked around on the top floor where I'm at. I'm in one of the study rooms, and it is bumping in the library today, but I should know that it's a Friday, and there's a university that's not too far from me, so makes sense. Yeah, so I am going to jump into doing some work, and then I'll probably make my way downstairs to look around for a bit. And in the meantime, I'm gonna listen to James because I think it's due at the end of today. So I'm gonna start listening to that while I do my other work. And yeah. As you may know, I'm not currently working, which has given me a lot of free time. But with this newfound time, I've found myself slipping into idleness more often than I'd like. Over the past few weeks, I've been focusing on bringing more structure into my daily routine. One thing that's really helped is starting my channel. Launching this channel has given me a way to make productive use of my time and express my creativity through content creation. Being able to talk about books and connect with like-minded people has brought me so much joy, and I can't even begin to express how grateful I am for it. I've talked before about utilizing your resources, but in all honesty, it's been a while since I last stepped foot in the library. Being back in that space brought back so many happy memories and reminded me of all the reasons I fell in love with reading in the first place. Although I didn't have much time to spend there on this visit, I'm definitely going to make it a point to visit the library more regularly. I think I'll aim to make it a weekly habit. So we're gonna pretend like it's the same day, right? We're gonna pretend like it's the same day because you guys wouldn't know that, but I know that it's been a couple of days since I was at the library, and I ended up filming a clip that night, and because I had somewhere to go after I left the library, and what ended up happening was there's like this weird ringing sound in my bedroom and my bathroom, but you can't hear it in the other parts of my apartment. So I never realized until I was filming and it was the dead of night that there was a ringing, and I talked for 20 minutes and the ringing is so annoying. So that's why I have my mic on, for no other reason but that, because this is not like a formal sit down video, right? It's a vlog. But I just needed to let you guys know. When I tell you there's no way in the world that I could have subjected you guys to that. Listening back to it and editing that clip down, I said, there's no way. There's no way. There is absolutely no way. So I'm going to be talking about the books that I picked up from the library from my last visit. I've been to the library again since then, so I'm really excited about that, getting to go to the library again, because I promise you, I've been shut up in the house like a hermit. I've been shut up in the house like a hermit. I can't tell you how much weight I've gained since being home and all the other things. Ugh. Anyway, so I have 4 books here. And yeah, so I'm gonna just start off with the first two, River Mama and Razorblade Tears. These don't count because they're technically already on my Libby TBR. And like I had mentioned to you guys in my last video, I love to read and listen at the same time. So I've actually already started Razorblade Tears. Bookmark is in the book. Yeah. I realized that I never explained why I like to read and listen to books at the same time. One, if I'm busy doing a task, if I'm cleaning, or I just have something to do, I really enjoy listening to the audio because I can't physically have the book in my hands. So for instance, I have a lot of things going on right now, so I'm listening to the audio of Razorblade Tears. When I get into bed, I'm gonna pick the book up. It's right here on my nightstand. I'll just look where I'm at in my Libby, flip to that page, and then I'll just continue reading because I do read faster than the audio. You know, I think most people read faster than the audio, to be fair. Just give yourself a chance. I promise you probably do too. And then, of course, River Mama. I'm not talking about what this book is about because I did that in my last video. And if you want to know, you should check that out if you didn't watch it. And then Razorblade Tears is two fathers. I realized that I never talked about it. I've mentioned it in my last two videos, but I actually never talked about what the book was about. And the reason why I didn't was because a lot of people had already read it. And people were telling me that I needed to read it. So I was just like, do I need to explain it? But anyways, I will for those who maybe didn't. This book is about Buddy Lee and Ian, what is his last name? Randolph? Yeah, Ian Randolph and Buddy Lee. They are the fathers of Derek and Isaiah. So Derek and Isaiah are their sons. They were a married couple and they get murdered. And in this book, Ian and Buddy Lee are basically trying to find out who killed their sons. And so far so good. I'm enjoying it. Let me tell you something. I thought Buddy Lee was a sidekick character. He's not. He really is nobody to play with. Neither one of them are anybody to play with. I was watching Mara's vlog and she was talking about uh, the two of them really being about that life. They're about that life. Yep. They're about that life. They are not. Let me tell you something. I'm enjoying this more than I enjoyed Razorblade Tears. Shocked. Not really, because based on all of the endorsements in the comment section, after I read after I read All the Sinners Bleed, I get it. I get it. And so far so good. Like I said, I'm really only like 15%. I'm on page 72. So I'm like 15% done or with this book. So I have quite a bit of pages left to go, but I am thoroughly enjoying it. I actually also purchased this book on the book outlet sale, so I'm waiting for that to come in the mail. That way, if I don't finish this in time for me to return it to the library, which I probably will, this book will probably be done by tomorrow, then I'll have my own copy. So, so good. The next book I picked up from the library was The Island of Forgetting by Jasmine Seeley. Now, this book I've never heard of. I've also never heard of this author before, but she's Bayesian Canadian, and she's so cute. Anyway, this book is actually a generational tale. I don't typically like generational tales, but what got me was this part here. It says an intimate family saga loosely inspired by Greek mythology. This novel is about the echoes of deep and sometimes tragic love and the way a family's past can haunt its future. So based on the synopsis, this is a generational tale that starts from 1962 to 2018. So it starts off with a man who witnesses his mother and brother murdering his father, and essentially he goes mad. And I'm assuming the reason why it's called the Island of Forgetting is because nobody can seem to escape this damn place. Nobody. At the very bottom though, when we get down to, I guess, the son of generations down in 2018, this guy ends up leaving the island because he winds up in Canada. So I guess that's where the tale picks up. I'm assuming so because there's nothing else after that in the synopsis. So I'm just gonna go off of that. But yeah, it seems interesting enough. Not that I needed yet another thing to add to my November TBR, but sounds good. And then lastly, I got The Spook Who Sat by the Door by Sam Greenlee. This book actually has been on my TBR for quite some time. I watched Nipsey Hussle in a Breakfast Club interview talk about this book, and it intrigued me since then. And I never ever got around to buying the book. I actually had it in my Amazon cart for the longest time, and then I just added it to my wish list. And I was like, oh, one day when I'm in the mood to read this book, I'll buy it. But when I went to the library, they had it available, so I had to check it out. So this book follows Dan Freeman. He is the first Black man to be enlisted into the CIA's espionage program, and he completes his training. And when he's completed, he leaves and goes back to Chicago and trains the young Black children or young Black youth on, I guess, everything that he learned. I don't know, but sounds interesting enough to me. Spook is actually a derogatory term, and when I was doing some research, because I was like, what in the world? I know that this is not a good word to use. Is the equivalent of using nigger. You know what I mean? So it is used to describe a Black person at that time. And then it also means spy. So yeah, sounds interesting enough to me. I can't wait to get into this. I'll probably add this to my December TBR because my TBR for November is quite full. We all know that. So, yeah, those were the 4 books that I got from the library. But of course, these 2 don't count. All right? And I'm already into this one. So, that's it. That's it for now. I'm going to go because I have some things to get done. I'll see you in the next clip. You can just call me a liar. Because I was supposed to update you guys yesterday morning. It's basically been 2 days since I picked up the camera. So yeah, here we are. I am done with Indigo. Loved it. 5 stars. And I've moved on to An Extraordinary Union. That's what I'm currently reading. I'm like 73% done with this book. I'm almost done. I think I only have 2.5 hours left of listening because I'm listening to it on Libby. Y'all know Libby has me in a chokehold for the month of November. The amount of things, like, I can't tell you how many things have come in since filming that video. And I'm just like, there are so many hours in a day. There are but so many hours in a day. And I actually want to spend time and enjoy and really think about, meditate on some of the things that I'm reading before I jump to the other thing. And not overwhelming myself. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm in the middle of that book. You know, it's so interesting reading 2 historical fiction books like back to back. Both books are set in the same time but are on different topics. The Beverly Jenkins book, it was set in Michigan, so you know, it's a northern state. The focus, well, they obviously were focusing on trying to abolish slavery, but also like the Underground Railroad was like the main theme, one of the themes within that book. Not theme, one of the main plot focuses for that book, as the main character Hester and the love interest Galen were both conductors on the Underground Railroad. This one is during the Civil War. I believe I think they're in Virginia. Yeah, I like it. I like it so far. It's different. I will say the differences between the books are that I found that the Beverly Jenkins book was, although they're both historical romances, the Beverly Jenkins book was more character driven, and this book is more plot driven. Um, in my opinion, I maybe I have that wrong, but that's what I'm feeling. I found that the things happening in this book are not things that I was expecting. I do think I know where the story's going, and I am nervous. I am very, very nervous. Both books, obviously, just due to the climate of when these books were, during the times, I should say, there's a lot of tense moments. And I'm like, I'm scared for you. I'm scared for you, and I'm not even in the story. So yeah, like, I'm really interested to kind of see where this is gonna go. So I'm excited to finish reading. And just based on how this reading month is going, yeah, I don't know about my list of books that I have done for my TBR. I don't know about all of that. I don't know if I want to keep reading historical fiction or if I want to like move on to like a different genre. Like, I keep saying like, please expand your vocabulary, sister. Um, I am in the mood, obviously, to read about love, yes. But I do love a story that has a good plot, and I'm getting all the things that I need to get out of this story. Ooh, this camera is crooked, baby. But yeah, I promise you, if this was crooked the entire time, I'm gonna be so mad. Anyways, yeah, it's been interesting reading these two books, and I've enjoyed my reading so far this month. This is book number 3 for me, and yeah. When I was thinking about reading like historical fiction, one of the main reasons why I was afraid, or I thought like I didn't really care for historical fiction, is because I have a hard time with the slave narrative, and I get really angry. It makes me very upset. And just thinking about that and knowing that these things were real and they happened to our people. So I don't know. I'm enjoying a different spin. The last book that I might have read with this type of like narrative would be The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates, maybe. Or maybe it was Kindred by Octavia Butler. I didn't care for that book. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I didn't care for Kindred, not The Water Dancer, because I found that I couldn't connect with the character. I didn't find her to be likable at all, but I also found that she was very detached, and her reactions to such a traumatic thing that happened to her, it didn't connect for me. Like there was just something about it, and I'm like, you're not reacting the way that I personally think that, maybe because I was trying to put myself in her shoes, and I was like, you're not reacting the way that I think anybody else in your shoes would react. Like it just felt off. And it just I couldn't get into it because of that. But I did finish the book, and I was just like, when it was done, I was like, what the hell? Because I've heard such amazing things about Octavia Butler, but I was like, that story for me just was not it. So I want to give her another chance, obviously, because I know what she's done for literature, and I know what she's done for Black people in literature in the science fiction space. So I do want to read The Parable of Sowers, and I also want to read Fledgling. And I'll get into those at some point, but I have so many things on my TBR, and there's so many things top of mind before I get to those books. So anyways, I tell that to say I'm enjoying enjoying my reading this month. I'm enjoying the things that I've read so far during this this vlog. And yeah, I will update you guys more tomorrow morning. I am going to take my face off. I'm going to jump in the shower, and I'm going to finish listening to the story because I want to see how it ends. Like when I tell you that Elle and Malcolm have me so like nervous. Like I'm nervous for Elle, and it's not even me. I'm nervous for Elle, and it's not even me. Oh my God. When I tell you that it has me so tense, it has me so tense. The story has me so tense. And I'm like, y'all are playing with fire, okay? You are playing with fire, and you are about to get burned, and you don't even know it. But yeah, I can definitely see where this story is going. I think I know where it's going. And if my deduction skills are deducting, the conclusion is going to be pew. Anyways, good night, y'all. Good night. I'll see you in the morning. Goodbye. So we're finally in a familiar corner. If I'm here, you already know what time it is. In this vlog, I was able to knock out 2 more books off of my November TBR. And I have to say that my reading this month has gone off to a fantastic start. I'm very happy. All the books that I've read so far have been 5-star reads to me. But you know how I feel about rating systems. Don't care for them. I loved all the books that I've read so far. So we've read Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. We read Indigo by Beverly Jenkins. And we read An Extraordinary Union by Alyssa Cole. So I'm not going to talk about Before I Let Go because I talked about it in my most previous video, but I am going to talk about Indigo and An Extraordinary Union. My cat is playing with the fringe on the ends of my pants, so I just keep feeling her batting my feet. I know, go away. Anyway, I realized that I didn't really talk about Indigo too much, and I'm using this as my opportunity to do so. So I guess this will be my like a quick little book review on both books. So first off, we're going to start off with Indigo. That book follows Hester Wyatt and Galen. I think it's I don't think it's pronounced Vachon. It's Vachon, but he's from New Orleans, so I'm pretty sure there's a French. I feel like it's supposed to be Vacon, but I could be wrong. Doesn't matter. And I'm not even going to try to figure out what it is. Galen and Hester are the two main characters in this book. Both of them are conductors on the Underground Railroad. Galen comes from a very affluent family in New Orleans. He is a very wealthy man, and on the road he is known as the Black Daniel. In this story, Hester has been given the responsibility of nursing Galen back to health after he was brutally attacked by slave catchers. And their first meeting did not go, it did not go well. As I mentioned in previous videos, Galen is very rude. He's very rude, and his attitude was, it was no bueno. Hester was not feeling it, nor was I, but I'm a little toxic, and I have to say, I was like, oh, okay. Really and truly. But with him, with Galen being under Hester's care, he reveals to her that there is a traitor in their midst. And of course, Hester doesn't believe him. I wouldn't believe him. Who would believe this rude man who she doesn't even know? I don't blame her. Being in such close proximity, they have to learn to kind of like get along. And of course, as the story progresses, Galen is intrigued by Hester's innocence, and she is not immune to Galen's charm and his arrogance. But I don't want to give too much away. So that's that on the synopsis. Here are my thoughts. The story starts off so outrageously. It begins with a letter from Hester's father to her aunt, who's his sister. And in the letter, he's telling her that he sold himself into slavery for love. Huh? When I tell you, I said, oh, I have to keep reading to find out what is going to happen. And I'm not going to give you any more. I suspected who the traitor was pretty early on in the story. And of course, that doesn't take away from anything. I found that I really just wanted to know why. I wanted to know why. And when we got to the part where the traitor was revealed, I empathized with the reasoning. I empathized with their reasoning for sure. And I get it. I get it. Was it wrong? Yeah, but I get it. I absolutely loved the banter between the two characters. Actually, I like the banter between her and many of the characters throughout the book, not only Galen, but you know, I don't even, it doesn't even matter, the other sideline characters. And it was fun. There were plenty of funny moments, and I definitely enjoyed, you know, their chemistry more than anything. I really did enjoy their chemistry. The progression of their love story was so cute, and Hester's innocence and Galen's almost, he was arrogant. His arrogance, you know, made this story that much more endearing for me. Elements of this book actually reminded me of Elevate Me by Ashley Nicole. And just the small comparisons, you know, the book is named after like a physical attribute of Esther's, and I thought it was really cute. He calls her Little Indigo in this book, and in the Ashley Nicole book, the main character's name is Naya, and the male main character's name is Shia, and Shia calls Naya Little Bit, and then Galen calls Hester Little Indigo. And then of course you have the comparisons between their like body types. So Galen is a big, like, just strapping man, and Shia is a big strapping man. Like, I was just like, ooh, this is so, I just immediately, that's what came to mind, and I love that story as well. Naya was very innocent. Shia comes from a very affluent family, and so does, but the only difference is Naya also came from an affluent family as well. So that's the only difference. But those are some of the comparisons that I found with this story, and I really, really loved it. As I mentioned in my November TBR, Beverly Jenkins does a really great job at intertwining historical fact into her stories, and it was just enough. It wasn't overdone. And it just made me want to dive deeper and like learn more on my own. Of course, there were historical figures that I knew about before reading the story, like John Brown and like Frederick Douglass, but some of the other characters I didn't know, and things like fancy girl markets and what was it? Because I put it in my book here. And slave pens. I don't think I knew that those things were. I didn't know that those were actual things. So it definitely made me want to like go and do the research, which I definitely am going to do. So yeah, I loved it so much. And I have Shelby in the book club to thank for that. So I have a new fave, and I yes. Thanks, girl. Now on to An Extraordinary Union. This story follows Elle Barnes and Malcolm McCall. They're both undercover operatives or agents, whatever, for the Union. So the Union would be the North. So this story is about the Civil War. Elle is a free woman, and she goes undercover down south as a slave to a senator in Virginia. While undercover, she meets Malcolm, and she's instantly attracted to him, even though she shouldn't be. Of course, after a chance encounter, they realize that they're working for the same team, and together they join forces to figure out the Confederacy's plans in the war. So the Confederacy is the South, obviously. So here are my initial thoughts. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I kind of went into this book blindly because I just went off of a few endorsements in the comment section, and I was like, well, everybody says it's good. I have to go for it. So I didn't actually read the synopsis initially when I borrowed the book from the library. But as I was reading, the thing that really, it had me from the very beginning. And what had me was, and I have to read it. So it was April 1861, Baltimore, Maryland. It'll be an easy assignment, a simple passing on of information, one that even a girl such as yourself should be able to handle. Elle suppressed a bitter laugh as she recalled her loyal league master Laval's briefing from a few days before. Easy? Either her superior had dreadfully underestimated the Southern male's love of an opportunity to do violence, or he'd purposely set her in the middle of danger. She doubted it was the latter, but the man was unduly annoyed at her for having the gall to aid in her country without virtue of a certain appendage hanging between her thighs, as if a penis would somehow prove more useful to the cause than her peculiar gift. That made me laugh. And because I listened to it on audio, it was even funnier. And I obviously wanted to listen. I obviously wanted to continue listening. When Malcolm was introduced into the story, his identity was very shocking for me. And it definitely gave the story some flair. I'm just going to leave it at that. If you haven't read it, you're going to have to read it to find out, because I'm not telling you. When I say just about everything about this story was unexpected for me, and that in itself is what kept me engaged. I really loved Elle's boldness, and I loved Malcolm's like softness and care towards Elle. There was tension throughout the entire story, but I would say like the last 30 to 40% of the book was super intense, and it had me at the edge of my seat. One of the things I was most curious about while reading was if we were being introduced to any of the characters for the next two installments of the trilogy. And Alyssa didn't disappoint. I feel like the ending was written just for me. And I'm looking forward to reading book 2 in this series. Not sure when I'll get to it. The library doesn't have an audio version of it available, so I will have to physically read it, but I have a ton of books to read. But I look forward to it when I do get around to reading it. And yes, another great book for the month of November, for sure. And that is it. We're done. I've chatted and rambled and ran my mouth for like far too long, and I really didn't want this video to be too long. Let me know how you guys feel about the vlog. Let me know if you guys have read any of these 2 books. And yeah, do what you normally do. Talk with me in the comment sections. I write back. I look forward to hearing from you guys under each and every video. I'm gonna put up a poll to see if you guys would like for me to do a tour of my vinyl wall and record collection. So if you want to see that, let me know. If you made it this far, as always, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.